General Electric has signed a $1 billion investment deal with Nigeria as part of its plan to increase its investments in emerging markets. The investment, which will be spread over the next 5 years, involves a General Electric factory in the southeastern part of Nigeria. We caught up with Jeff Immelt, who's the CEO of General Electric, who spoke about the company's strategic move.
We are a big infrastructure company, maybe the biggest in the world. So the emerging markets have a tremendous demand for more power, more locomotives, more healthcare products. And so we're naturally following that progression globally. Sub-Saharan Africa is very important in that context. There's a tremendous infrastructure deficit. We have a great solution set for countries like Angola, Nigeria, South Africa. So this is a place where we put a big focus.
So I know you're in Nigeria to make a big announcement. Can you just let us into what you're doing in the country?
Now, our investment today is really talking about building capability in Nigeria. So we're announcing a $250 million investment to do both assembly, technology, servicing of our products here. And we think this localization effort just helps us build a stronger foundation to support the government, the people, and the customers in Nigeria.
Right. I mean, you just mentioned $250 million as a major investment today, but GE has been in Nigeria ahead for about 4 decades. Yeah. Going forward, what kind of investments can we anticipate, say, over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I think there will be more. You know, in other words, the investment I just described doesn't even include what we might be able to do in localizing locomotives here. So I view another big investment in rail and locomotives. I think we'll invest some capital around the power projects. So there'll be an opportunity to do financing. There's an opportunity to do more manufacturing. And then healthcare. You know, we're just in the early phases. So I think, you know, again, we need to move in sync with how the government reforms are going, how privatization is going. But again, I view Nigeria as a very strategic, important place where GE has to play to win and has to invest early and often, and we'll see where that goes. We have no specific target in mind, but I think it could be substantial.
What about the rest of Africa? What are you doing across Africa?
So, you know, again, as you all know, you talk about Africa, but there's 1,000 different stories. So, you know, in East Africa, we built a presence in Kenya. South Africa is the biggest economy, always remains important. And then Angola and Mozambique because of the natural resources. So we kind of look at it as an East Africa hub, a West Africa hub, the big resource-rich regions like Angola, and then South Africa. So we kind of have maybe 4 or 5 different plays we're running right now. But you know, look, if you add them all up, we're about at a $3 billion run rate today, and that's quite substantial. You know, and so I think there's more for us to do.
Everybody's talking about Africa as the next big opportunity for companies looking for investment returns that are outpacing what you get in developed markets. So your thoughts on balancing Africa's opportunity and the challenges that Africa presents with respect to things like infrastructure?
No. So I think it's a great point. So, you know, the first thing I'd say is, why are we here? First and foremost, because the things we do are a solution set for the countries here. So, you know, if I weren't in different businesses, maybe Africa wouldn't be as interesting, but we do the things that are important for the region. So that's first and foremost. The second is, for over a century, we've globalized, you know, both by providing customer solutions, but also by localizing. So we're somebody that knows how to invest, we know how to localize, we train our people, we hire good people, we partner with the big entrepreneurs like a Dangote or a Honeywell or people like that, so we know how to do all that. And the third thing is like, you know, when you're an old company or an experienced old hand like me, not much surprises you, you know, so we know that it doesn't all go in a straight line up. We know that there's unrest or challenges or things like that, and you just have to have a long-term view in terms of how things evolve. So,
talk to us about the importance of partnering with the African companies on the ground as you penetrate
this. So it's always, you know, I think there's always, we've always been a company that's known how to partner. You know, we don't need their money. You know, in the end, we have a strong balance sheet and plenty of cash. I think what a good partner does is it just makes you more of an insider. Is a teacher, you know, in other words, you know, Mr. Dangote or the other, you know, great partners we have here, they're a teacher for us. They help us learn, you know, what we need to do and how we need to think about things and what's important and what isn't important. And so I look at partners just as people that make us smarter, They help us become more a fabric of the social structure. You know, we have the benefit because of, you know, how we've protected our brand over time, that people want to work with us, which is something we never want to lose. So I think it's more of a, we know what we don't know. We don't need cash, really, but we need knowledge, and that's what a good partnership.
Talk to us about the importance of Africa for GE over the next 10 years.
So again, I think it's, you know, it's always the confluence of how governments act, how educated people become. You know, there's some luck involved, there's some development involved, but I would narrow it down. I would say in many ways the story of Africa over the next decade will be told by Nigeria. When you look at Nigeria, it's got resources, it's got people, population, it's got a desire in the heart of the people. So I would say in 10 years from now, either Nigeria is going to be really big, substantially bigger than it is today, and therefore all of Africa will be big. Or if Nigeria stumbles, there's no reason to think that any other country in the region, because in many ways, it all exists here, right? The window on the future, everything that can happen in Africa. So I'm always a believer in, you know, ride in the place that's got the most potential, invest hard, be very focused, execute well. And you know, we're kind of hitching the GE star, if you will, to Nigeria. Because I think if we ride it here, if we do the right things here and it grows the way I think it can grow, really the rest of Africa is gonna come with it. So you've got resources, you've got people. We need government to be a good actor in all of this. But look, I find it to be, you know, I'm a 30-year GE guy. I'm as fascinated by Africa today as I was by China 10 years ago or India 20 years ago. It's completely, I find it to be completely interesting. I find it, you know, a huge challenge. And so all of our team, and so, you know, what you do when you're a big company is you say, you know, we've got 300,000 people. I say, okay guys, we're doing Africa, we're doing it now, get on board, let's go. And that's about all I do all day. You know, it's just kind of, and then I got a great team that can come and make it happen.